is my partner Kate, and our project is This is Tie-Dye For. This project interested us because it involved many things that we're interested in and seemed like it would be very interesting and fun to research and conduct the experiment. We came up with our research question by thinking about what we could do that involved dyeing fabric with different and uncommon dyes. We chose this because we knew that not many people have tried this. Our hypothesis was that we thought the fabric dye would have the greatest effect on white fabric. Our goals for the project were to see which dyes had the greatest effects on time periods of 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours. Some research that was similar to our project was projects that studied the pH of dyes. Ours was different because while we did not study the pH, it did play a role in our project. The materials we used were cotton face masks, plastic bowls, RIT fabric dye and racing red, Gatorade fruit punch, icing gel food coloring, Kool-Aid and tropical punch, energy drink Rockstar, and Miss Meyer's dish soap and lemon verbena. Our procedure was using Gatorade, icing gel food coloring, fabric dye, energy drink, and Kool-Aid. 3 cotton masks apiece will be soaked for periods of 30 minutes, 1 hour, and 2 hours. After they are soaked in the different substances, it will be revealed which dye is the most vibrant from each period and each type of dye. The mask will then be washed by hand in cold water and a little bit of Miss Meyer's cleaning soap, and it will show which masks with their different dyes are the most vibrant before and after washing them. It will then be revealed which dye has the best color payoff out of the 15 masks. We developed our procedures by putting the different dyes in the bowls. Then we let the mask soak in the dyes the different times. We ran into an issue when the gel food coloring did not mix in the water and was very chunky. But we started to mix the dye with the different utensils and it then worked. The charts on the board are representatives of the different colors from the different time periods. For example, the energy drink color looks different in the 2-hour period than it does in the 30-minute period. Our controlled variables were the water we used, the amount of water per dye we added, the materials, the temperature outside where we were doing our experiment. The independent variables were the different types of dye per mask we used, and the times for the dyeing process. The dependent variables were time it took to wash out each mask. Our research was each of the dyes will have a different effect or color payoff for each time in liquid. Fabric dye is meant to dye a fabric a certain color with 2 cups of water and 2 tablespoons of dye. Energy drinks are not meant to dye things but have a red tint, causing them to dye the material. Gatorade is also meant to drink, but it is red and causes material to get dyed more than red energy drink. Food coloring, you're supposed to add 1/2 cup of water and 16 drops of color to a container. To dye fabric with Kool-Aid, you add a package of Kool-Aid to 1 ounce of vinegar. The cotton mask used to dye should be 100% cotton for the variables to turn out correctly. When washing the masks after dyeing, use 1 tablespoon of dish soap with cold water until the water becomes clear when running through the colored masks. Showed that fabric dye had the greatest effect on the masks for all of the time periods tested. Our results supported our hypothesis that fabric dye would have the greatest effect. We predicted this because fabric dye's job is to dye fabric. We learned that not everything is going to stay the same before and after washing and setting out to dry. Something we could have done differently is we could have done different time periods to get a greater understanding. In all categories, no matter the time or type of dye, the dye that performed the best was fabric dye. We expected this, considering that fabric dye's job is to dye fabric. All right.